At a peaceful lakeside town in the heart of America, a pregnant woman walked into the storm of her life. Lily Carter had just 6 months before becoming a mother, but only one night to save the man she loved from a crime he never committed. And beside her, a loyal German shepherd named Valor refused to let fear win. A powerful politician thought he had erased every trace of the truth. A secret cleanup team worked in the shadows. No one expected a dog to sniff out the lies buried beneath the autumn leaves. And no one imagined a mother who would stand against corruption with nothing but courage, faith, and the heartbeat inside her. What happens next will test how far love can fight and prove that miracles still walk on 4 paws. Before we begin, tell me where you're watching from. Drop your country in the comments. And if you believe God sends the right protector at the right moment, whether human or animal, hit subscribe so you never miss a story where loyalty and faith defeat the darkness. Golden leaves drifted like soft embers across the quiet lakeside town of Maple Ridge. Lily Carter paused at the corner where the cracked sidewalk met the edge of an old maple tree. Her breath a slow rise and fall beneath the knit cream sweater stretched gently over her 6-month pregnant belly. At 28, she carried a graceful fragility. Slender frame, warm hazel eyes that always sought the best in others, and chestnut brown hair pulled into a neat ponytail that never quite managed to hide the tiredness gathering at the corners of her gaze. The baby inside her shifted, a reminder of both hope and fear, while the distant bell of the church chimed 9 notes of a sleepy morning. Beside her walked Valor, a 4-year-old German shepherd with a proud stance and sable black fur streaked with gold along his shoulders. He had intelligent amber eyes, too human, people said, and a calm alertness that made him seem wiser than his years. He had been trained by Jack Carter himself, Lily's husband, a kind-hearted, broad-shouldered mechanic with rough hands and a shy half-smile, the sort of man who fixed strangers' cars for free when no one was watching. But now, Jack's smile had vanished behind prison walls. Fraud and property sabotage, they accused him, crimes tied to the new marina construction. Jack had sworn innocence, his voice shaking when he promised Lily that someone had set him up. She believed him completely, believed him the way she believed in oxygen or the heartbeat that fluttered beneath her ribs. But believing wasn't enough to save him from execution by truth twisted wrong. The thought stabbed through her, and she pressed a hand beneath her stomach, as if holding herself together from the inside. Valor nudged her knee with his nose, grounding her. "I'm okay," she whispered, though the trembling in her voice argued otherwise. She squeezed the leash and resumed walking, each footstep crunching over fallen leaves the color of burnt honey. Ahead, the white wooden church rose like a guardian of the lakeshore, paint slightly chipped, old bell tower, leaning with age, yet its presence sturdy as faith itself. Lily and Jack had married there 3 years ago. She remembered Jack brushing a stray curl from her face and promising, "Nothing in this world will ever break us, not while I can still hold your hand." Now she walked alone. At the bottom of the church steps, Valor stiffened. His tail lifted, ears pricked. A small envelope lay atop the top stair, inked with her name in blocky letters. Lily's heart kicked against her ribs. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. "If you want to save Jack, come to Briar Point Lighthouse before the bell strikes 9. Seek the Raven Wing." No signature, just a faint dusting of silver shimmering particles on the flap. She rubbed them between her fingers, cold, almost greasy, industrial cleaning residue, something used to wipe away evidence. Her pulse quickened. Someone knew the truth and wanted her to find it. "Valor, looks like we're going for a walk," she whispered. The dog tugged forward before she could finish, guiding her down the narrow road toward the shoreline. The morning mist thickened as they approached Briar Point, where jagged rocks gripped the restless lake and waves hissed against the stone like a warning. The lighthouse loomed, an old relic of the past, its red roof faded to rose rust, searchlight long retired. It had watched shipwrecks, storms, and the quiet drowning of secrets. Lily's shoes slipped over wet stones as Valor guided her around the base. A triangular boulder, shaped like an arrow, sat half buried in moss. Valor dug vigorously at its base, claws scraping rock. Then he lifted his head triumphantly, a polished object clamped between his teeth, a silver cufflink. Lily took it carefully. Her thumb brushed across the engraved initials, TB. Her stomach lurched. Thomas Blackwell, the influential city councilman, tall and stern with slick gray hair and a politician's confident stride. He spoke like justice was a speech he owned. She remembered his voice on TV, cold, resolute. "We must make an example of criminals like Jack Carter. Accountability is the foundation of our town." Jack had flinched watching it. Valor whined, low, uneasy. Lily looked up. The distant church bell began its tolling, announcing the late hour. Through the dissolving fog near the lighthouse railing, a dark silhouette flickered into view. A tall man, wearing a fedora, coat whipping in the wind. He stood still for a breath, watching. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. The figure turned and vanished into the mist before she could cry out. Lily clutched the cufflink as if it were oxygen. Something was terribly wrong in Maple Ridge, and someone wanted her to discover it. Lily Carter tightened her grip on the wax-coated ledger as she hurried away from the lighthouse, the silver initials TB still burning in her mind. The autumn breeze chased red-gold leaves down Maple Ridge's narrow market street, where vendors were packing up pumpkins and cinnamon pies as the afternoon thinned into the softer hours of early evening. Valor kept pace at her right side, his muscular frame tense, his black and tan fur bristling every time someone in uniform glanced their way. His protective instinct was strong, not born from aggression, but from deep loyalty to Lily and the child she carried. She whispered a nervous "thank you" to Martha Ellis, who waved them on from her pumpkin stall, her wrinkled hands steady despite the tension that rippled through the town like a crack beneath ice. Lily walked with careful strides, one hand hovering near her belly as if shielding her unborn child from every shadow. The cryptic message still glowed on her phone. "Don't touch the camera. The deal is done. At 6 p.m., the lights go out." The warning felt like a collar tightening around her hopes. Something or someone was desperate to erase truth, to keep Jack condemned. They reached the road leading to St. Bartley's Church, a sturdy gray stone sanctuary with stained glass windows glowing faintly like trapped sunsets. She climbed the wide steps slowly, breathing steadily as Valor pushed against her leg to help keep her balance. Inside, the hall smelled of old hymnals and beeswax. The quiet steadied her spiraling thoughts. Father Michael Sullivan awaited them in the nave, a tall man in his early 60s with soft brown eyes, silver hair combed neatly back, and a posture shaped by years of comforting others. He carried the gentle gravity of someone acquainted with sorrow, perhaps the kind learned from sitting beside too many hospital beds and grave sites. His warm baritone voice asked, "Lily, what has the Lord placed in your path today?" She showed him the ledger, flipping to the pages marked with maple leaf colors. Father Michael leaned close, adjusting thin-rimmed glasses. He wasn't a detective, but his years working with community petitions and council meetings gave him familiarity with bureaucratic codes. His brows furrowed deeper with every line he read. "This is procurement data," he murmured. "Dock materials, steel reinforcements, cleaning agents, quantities that don't match what was reported publicly." Can it prove Jack didn't sabotage anything? Lily asked, her voice tight with hope and fear intertwined. It can raise questions, he answered softly, and sometimes that's where justice begins. Valor paced, his nails tapping the worn wooden floor. He stopped suddenly, ears pricked toward the side exit. Alert. Lily followed his gaze and spotted a tall silhouette through the stained glass, someone lingering too long near the church fence. A chill rushed down her spine. Father Michael guided them into a smaller room behind his office, a sheltered space cluttered with donation boxes, winter coats, and chalkboards from Sunday school. There, he unlocked a steel cabinet sunk into the wall. "We'll store the ledger here, temporarily," he said. "This place has seen its share of secrets and survived all of them." Lily hesitated, handing over the only proof they had felt like surrendering her pulse. Father Michael noticed and rested a warm, steady hand on hers. "You are not giving it up," he said. "You are giving it protection." She nodded, exhaling shakily. Valor pressed his flank against her leg, as though giving approval too. The priest retrieved an old laptop, its casing scuffed from years of volunteer spreadsheets and sermon drafts. "There's an alternate network route here, an outdated municipal backup that still links to traffic surveillance archives. Used to be part of our neighborhood watch program." His mustache twitched into a gentle smile. Small towns rarely throw anything away. Hope rekindled in Lily. The camera by the stone alley might have captured the man in the fedora. Proof. A face. Something undeniable. Valor sat near the desk, eyes tracking every flicker on the screen as Father Michael logged into the system. Lily felt the baby flutter, a reminder that urgency wasn't only legal, it was life. Jack needed his family whole again. The priest tapped keys, navigating through menus. Pixelated frames appeared. Street corners, storefronts, the lighthouse road blurred by fog. 10 minutes back," Lily urged softly. She clung to Valor's collar to steady her trembling. Then they saw him. A tall man wearing a charcoal fedora and coat, moving with purpose toward the lighthouse, badge lanyard shining briefly against the mist. Father Michael zoomed in as far as the grainy resolution allowed. A laminated access badge caught the camera's glare, and just barely, 3 engraved letters gleamed. T.B. Lily's breath hitched. Valor growled, deep, low, protective. Father Michael straightened. "This could clear Jack," he whispered, awe and alarm mixing in his voice. Just then, the heavy doors of the church creaked open. Deputy Cole stepped inside, tall, early 30s, neat beard, crisp uniform stretched across sturdy shoulders. His expression was strict, but conflicted. Blue eyes shadowed, as though doubt gnawed at him. He approached slowly, palms open in a gesture of calm. "Mrs. Carter," he said, tone measured, "I need to take that ledger and escort you to the station. It's for your safety." Valor moved instantly between them, muscles coiled to spring if needed. Cole froze, not frightened, but aware that one wrong move could escalate everything. Lily swallowed. "No," she answered, quieter than she expected, but firm. Deputy Cole's jaw clenched. "You're getting involved in something bigger than you understand." Lily lifted her chin. "It's already bigger than me. It's my family." Before another word could pass between them, the church lights flickered, then died. All that remained was the glow of the laptop screen and the warning text from earlier repeating in Lily's mind, 6 p.m. Everything goes dark. The darkness that swallowed the church felt sudden and absolute, like someone had pulled a velvet curtain across the world. For a moment, Lily Carter could only hear the pulse of her own heartbeat and the slow, warning growl rising from Valor's chest. The fetal kick inside her ribs reminded her not just fear lived here, but fierce purpose. Ben Coleman, the 30-year-old local reporter with a scruffy jawline and brown hair, perpetually in need of a comb, slapped his laptop lid down to protect the screen. His eyes, quick, intelligent, and typically lit by humor, now hardened with rising urgency. "Power grid's down, exactly on schedule," he muttered, voice low but edged with adrenaline. Someone planned this to the second. Deputy Cole, standing near the doorway leading to the staircase, shifted uneasily. He was a solid-built man, early 30s, neat beard, trimmed like a man who worshipped discipline, yet his forehead glistened faintly, uncertainty breaking through his authority. He raised his hand slightly. "We need to go downstairs. This building isn't safe if someone wants to silence you." Lily kept her back straight, despite her trembling stomach. "If we leave now, they'll destroy what we found." Cole exhaled sharply through his nose. "Mrs. Carter, please understand, politics aside, some very dangerous people may want that ledger, and if you're caught with it, I'm not the one who should be afraid of evidence," she replied, clutching the swell of her belly as if shielding the truth itself. Valor, sensing tension, positioned himself between Lily and Cole. His fur stood up like a row of spears, tail low but unwavering. He wasn't barking. Yet. He didn't need to. His stare said everything. A flashlight beam suddenly cut through the darkness as Father Michael Sullivan reached the top of the stairs. His kind eyes were shadowed with resolve. "We stay together," he said. Fear scatters us, and scattered is exactly how they win. He led them back down the spiral steps, the beam bouncing off stone walls. The air smelled of history, swept floors, damp timber, hidden truths. Lily's free hand brushed the rough wall, and she imagined decades of desperate fingers searching for hope here before her. As they reached the nave, figures moved near the front entrance. 2 silhouettes, bulky coats, purposeful stride. Not officers, not parishioners. Valor growled louder, paws planted. Ben whispered, "Those aren't friendly types," confirming what Lily's intuition already screamed. Father Michael motioned silently to a narrow hallway off to the side, a passage Lily hadn't noticed before. "This way," he mouthed. "Sacristy door exits to the courtyard." Deputy Cole hesitated. His conscience seemed to be wrestling a war inside his ribcage. "If I help you walk out of here with that ledger," he swallowed hard, eyes shifting, "I'm not sure I'll still have a badge tomorrow." Ben placed a hand on Cole's arm. "Badges don't mean much if they're pinned to corruption." Cole's jaw tightened, but he nodded. They followed Father Michael down the passage. The sacristy was lined with robes of deep violet and green, gold-stitched hymns catching the faint flashlight glare. The priest rummaged through a cabinet and pulled out a small, old-fashioned key. "Leads to the courtyard garden. From there to the street behind the bakery." "But where do we go after?" Lily whispered, aware the strangers had begun searching the pews in the nave. Before Father Michael could answer, a soft rap sounded at the sacristy's window. Everyone froze. A face appeared, pressed gently to the glass. It was Martha Ellis. The 65-year-old widow had traded her usual pumpkin stall apron for a navy coat and knit hat. Her blue eyes, always kind, always sharp, signaled calm urgency. She motioned for them to open the back door. Ben unlocked it, while Valor kept watch. Martha slipped in, with surprising agility for her age. "Those men are sweeping all the exits," she whispered. "They've got unmarked SUVs out front. Saw it on my way home. Knew you'd need help." Lily blinked. "Why?" she asked, voice cracking. Martha placed a steady hand on her arm. "Because right is right. And because Jack once fixed my heater for free, even when he was late for work." She glanced at Lily's belly. "That baby deserves a father." The priest smiled softly. "God works through stubborn women," he murmured. Martha continued. "There's still one way out they won't think of. The crypt tunnel under the old cemetery connects to my cellar. Only Father Michael and the raccoons use it nowadays." Cole looked skeptical. "A tunnel? Under gravestones? Better than a jail cell? Or a morgue?" Martha quipped, surprisingly fierce. Boots stomped closer in the nave. Voices barked, low, commanding. They were running out of time. The ledger safely hidden beneath Lily's coat, she followed Martha toward a trapdoor behind the altar. Valor descended first, paws thumping on ancient stone. The air below was cool and earthy, thick with the scent of soil and candle wax, long faded. Lily lowered herself carefully, supported by Cole's steady grip. "I've got you," he whispered, sounding genuinely protective now. As Father Michael shut the trapdoor above them, sealing out the footsteps of the men searching the church, Lily realized something powerful. She wasn't alone anymore. Not in fear. Not in truth. And not in this fight. Valor brushed his head against her elbow, reassuring. Ben adjusted his backpack strap, eyes gleaming with the thrill of unearthing a story that mattered. Martha led the way through the narrow tunnel, steps sure and determined. And Deputy Cole, conflicted but choosing decency, kept close at Lily's side. They walked deeper into the shadows, toward answers, toward danger, toward justice. Progress bars had a cruel sense of humor. Lily Carter stared at the frozen 99% like it might crack open and spill salvation. Wind tugged her coat as she stood on Dock C, the lake breathing a cold mist into the autumn night. The ledger was safely zipped inside her bag, every heartbeat reminding her it was precious cargo. Valor stayed close, shoulder brushing her thigh, warm fur steadying her like a living shield. Councilman Thomas Blackwell, tall and polished, even in dim light, smoothed a hand through his silver-streaked hair. His vest, brown wool, perfectly fitted, betrayed no wrinkle of panic, only irritation. The kind of irritation power felt when questioned. A faint scar along his jaw, a line lost in decades-old stubble, suggested a man who'd once known danger, but now outsourced it. "You shouldn't be out here," he said calmly, though his narrowed eyes flicked from Ben to the flashing phone screen, like a gambler eyeing a card about to turn on him. Ben Coleman adjusted his glasses with one hand, shaggy hair tossed by the wind. He was no detective, but his instincts were sharp, journalist bones vibrating with the scent of corruption. Beneath his humor was a man who'd built walls after losing too many good stories to threats and red tape. Tonight, though, he had something real. Deputy Cole stood between Lily and Blackwell, conflicted loyalty carved across his square face. He had the body of a man who lifted weights to chase away stress, and the eyes of someone who never quite slept right after putting on the badge. He rested a tense hand near his service weapon, but not gripping it. "Let's all calm down," he said. Everyone walks into the station. We do this by the book. Blackwell scoffed. Young man, I helped write that book. A low hum vibrated under their feet. The pump inside the dock building still running, pushing something chemical into the lake. Valor's tail stiffened as he sniffed the air, then angled his head sharply toward the shoreline. He barked once, sharp, warning. From across the dock, a new figure approached, the kind that drew silence in its wake. A woman, tall, late 40s, stepped into the spill of Ben's flashlight. She had iron-gray hair pulled back into a severe bun, cheekbones sharp, as if carved from winter stone, and eyes the color of tarnished steel. Unreadable. She wore a black utility jacket with a Raven Gate patch sewn cleanly onto the sleeve. Her walk was military, straight spine, arms loose but purposeful, and in her right hand hung a metal case with a biohazard sticker. Her voice was cool and clipped, softened only by age. Councilman, we need to finish loading the last units. The boat's waiting. Blackwell's smirk returned, just a twitch of lips. We were just discussing unfinished matters. Deputy Cole stepped forward. Ma'am, state your name. The woman's expression didn't waver. Elena Drake, Site Operations Supervisor. Her SR tone held no fear, only inevitability. Lily felt a cold knot form beneath her ribs. Supervisor of what? Destroying evidence? Elena's gaze swept Lily's stomach before returning to her eyes. No sympathy, but perhaps acknowledgement of courage. Raven Gate ensures safety. Nothing more. Ben snorted. You sanitize crime scenes like they sanitize toxic spills. Must be nice rewriting stories for money. Elena's brow twitched. Truth is a luxury. Safety is survival. Valor growled, low and fierce, stepping in front of Lily. Elena set the metal case down and rested one hand on it, almost protective. We're done here, Councilman. She nodded toward the dark water. A faint red navigation light blinked offshore, a boat waiting like a shadow with teeth. Lily glanced at her phone. The screen flickered, then unlocked with a sharp ping. The progress bar hit 100%, and a video began to play. On screen, shaky warehouse footage, Thomas Blackwell signing an order form. He wasn't alone. A younger man, clean-cut, and wearing a city badge, handed him a tablet. The Carter guy will take the fall, he said. Raven Gate cleans the scene tonight. A close-up showed Blackwell's signature and the TB cufflink glinting. Then a chilling line from Blackwell himself. No evidence. No problem. The video ended abruptly. Ben exhaled, trembling with excitement and fear. We have him. Elena reached into her jacket. Valor lunged forward with a bark, teeth flashing. Lily gasped, clutching her belly. Elena didn't flinch. She simply raised both hands slowly, empty palms forward. No one wants violence, she said evenly, especially not with a child present. Cole reacted first. He stepped behind Blackwell, pulling out handcuffs, but instead of clicking them shut, he hesitated. His eyes flicked to Lily. Lily met his gaze. Do the right thing. And something inside him pulled too long between orders and truth finally broke. The cuffs snapped around Thomas Blackwell's wrists. Blackwell stiffened, still trying to smile as though the world obeyed him. Deputy, you're making a mistake that will cost... Cole cut him off. Justice isn't a mistake. Elena watched with the cold patience of someone calculating odds. Then she bent, picked up her case, and stepped back into the shadows. You've started a war, she told Lily. Not threatening, but prophetic. Footsteps approached, officers responding to Cole's earlier radio call, lights slicing the night. Lily's knees softened with relief. Valor pressed against her, warm and alive and proud. For the first time since Jack's arrest, hope felt bigger than fear. Dawn arrived softly over Maple Ridge, brushing pink across the lake like a blessing that had waited too long. The community hall hummed with the low growl of the generator, still lighting the town's safe haven through the night. Jack Carter sat close to Lily now, free at last. His rough mechanic's hands trembling each time they brushed against hers. His brown hair was mussed, dark stubble along his jaw hinting at sleepless hours. But his eyes, warm, deep hazel, held a relief so profound it seemed ready to spill over. Lily leaned against him, breath slow and settled. The baby inside her seemed to feel the shift, too, kicking as if claiming victory in its own small language. She rested her palm over that fluttering life, grounding herself in this new reality. Jack was home. The nightmare had not won. Valor slept at their feet, tail twitching occasionally in dream, as though still chasing away shadows that dared approach his family. The 4-year-old German shepherd looked peaceful for the first time since Jack's arrest, ears relaxed, one paw draped over Jack's boot, like a declaration. Mine to protect. Deputy Cole stood nearby, posture rigid, but eyes softer than ever. He tugged at his collar, like a man unused to public gratitude. I should have questioned things sooner, he said, voice low, so only Lily and Jack could hear. Fear kept me quiet, and fear nearly doomed an innocent man. He paused, swallowing hard. I'm sorry. Jack placed a firm hand on Cole's shoulder. You stood up when it mattered, he said. That takes more courage than never doubting at all. The two men exchanged a brief nod. Trust earned, not assumed. When the district attorney arrived, a tall man in a charcoal wool coat, salt and pepper hair combed neatly, wearing the tired compassion of someone who had signed one too many grim decisions. He shook Jack's hand firmly. We're moving forward with charges against Blackwell and Raven Gate, he assured. His voice was formal, but his eyes showed genuine remorse. You deserve more than apologies, but at least this is a start. Morning then gave way to golden afternoon, and the entire town seemed to gather at the Autumn Harvest Festival. Because Maple Ridge believed in healing together. Banners of gold and orange hung from lampposts. Tables overflowed with caramel apples, pumpkin loaves, and steaming cups of cider. The old wooden stage creaked under the modest weight of hope. Ben Coleman took that stage first, messy-haired and energetic as ever, camera slung around his neck. Sometimes, he told the crowd, voice amplified with pride, the bravest heroes walk on four paws. And sometimes justice comes, wrapped in faith and a mother's courage. He gestured toward Lily and Valor, prompting loud applause and a few teary eyes. Martha Ellis, her silver hair tied into a jaunty scarf, cheeks rosy from excitement, approached Valor with a ribbon the color of evergreen hope. Tag pinned to it read, Courage and Loyalty Award. She bent to kiss the top of his head. Thank you for never giving up, she whispered, blue eyes glistening. Valor responded by licking her cheek, a single swipe of affection that sent laughter rippling across the crowd. Father Michael stood with hands folded, watching with a smile touched by relief. In the soft lines of his face was the knowledge that sometimes faith didn't need miracles. Sometimes faith just needed people willing to hold the light when darkness tried to snuff it out. As music began to play, acoustic guitar, warm and steady, Jack and Lily stepped slightly aside, wanting a quiet moment together. He brushed strands of chestnut hair away from her face. Feels like breathing again, he murmured. Like everything froze for months, and suddenly, the world's moving. She leaned into him, head against his chest. The world didn't move, she whispered. We did. His palm moved gently to her stomach. So, autumn for a girl? A grin teased the corner of his mouth. Grant for a boy? Lily laughed, soft and melodic. We'll see who shows up, she replied. But either way, they're coming into a world where truth won. The guitar faded into a slower melody. Beneath the wooden eaves of the festival booth, Valor stretched out beside them, eyes half-lidded in contentment, head happily resting atop Jack's shoe, his favorite seat in the world. Wind rustled red leaves overhead, letting some flutter down like confetti for a celebration rooted in resilience. Lily tightened her scarf as the evening cooled. The lake reflected the rise of the harvest moon, bright and bold as a promise. She thought of the message that had saved them, Jack's lullaby turned password, and the poetic irony that truth had emerged under that very moon. Blackwell would answer for his crimes. Raven Gate would no longer operate in the shadows, and Lily's family, nearly torn apart, was now stitched back together by loyalty, grit, and faith. Valor's tail thumped twice. Approval. Lily looked around the festival. Neighbors smiling, autumn glowing, Jack's hand holding hers like he'd never let go again. For the first time in many long nights, fear did not have a seat at her table. This season, this moment, belonged to love. Sometimes, God's miracles don't come wrapped in thunder and lightning. Sometimes, they come on four paws, with a wagging tail, and a love that refuses to give up. In our darkest hours, we often think we're alone. But God sends us help in ways we never expect. A loyal friend, a stranger with courage, a sign that appears just in time. Lily, Jack, and Valor's story reminds us of this unshakable truth. Faith may be quiet, but it always works. Love may be simple, but it always saves. And hope never arrives too late. So if you're facing a storm right now, hold on. Pray. Believe, because God sees you, and He will send a miracle. Maybe big, maybe small, but exactly the one you need. Before you leave, dear friends, comment below and share what you're praying for tonight. Hit share, so this message of faith can touch another heart. And don't forget to subscribe to follow more miraculous stories like this. Stories where love and loyalty prove that God never abandons us. May the Lord bless and protect everyone watching today. May He lighten your burdens, strengthen your spirit, and fill your home with peace. Until the next story, God bless you and your family, and may your guardian angel, whether two-legged or four, always walk beside you.